Now, Malaysia, just across the waters, has the same ethnic history as the Indonesians. They speak a language that is very closely related to each other. And of course, these Malay people were equally exposed to Islam by the Arab traders who came in. Not all of them were Arabs, some of them were Iranians, and some of them were Indians from India. So these three groups, Indian, Arab, Persian, Muslims coming into that region, gradually planted themselves in that area. And the various kingdoms that you find in the entity we call Malaysia today owe their roots to the coming of Islam 500–600 years ago. And today, if you go to Malaysia, you will see that the Islamic presence is very significant, not only in terms of national Muslim organizations, and this is very evident when you go for Hajj, because I think the Malaysians have organized the best network for the handling of the Hajj among the Muslims. And of course, this is an interesting phenomenon in terms of Indonesia. The other thing is the Malaysian Muslims have imbibed Islam, and not only in terms of theology and concepts, etc., and rituals, but they have also modified the Arabic script to their own devices. Now, of course, one thing that has happened in Malaysia, which did not happen in India, and it also happened in Africa, so the Malaysian experience and the African experience are similar in the sense that both in Malaysia and in Africa, the Arabic script would be replaced by the Roman script under colonial rule, to the point that today in Malaysia, Malaysians write in the Roman alphabet. This did not happen with the Urdu-speaking Muslims. It happened with the Turks. In the case of the Chinese Muslims, one way of dividing the Turkish-speaking people in Central Asia is to split them between those who write with Roman letters, the Chinese allow that, and those who use Cyrillic or Arabic script. So in this case, you administer what I call the Ataturk pill of historical amnesia, because you cut the people off from their heritage the moment you change the alphabet. Can you imagine what will happen to us here in the United States if all of a sudden we all write in Japanese script? You will not read Jefferson anymore, because because you're cut off from him. You can't read English Roman alphabet. You now use Japanese characters. That's what happened to some of the Muslims. So that's one of the reasons why many people don't understand why some of the Muslims are worked up in terms of system challenging. Because I don't think Westerners have ever gone through that kind of experience in terms of being administered the pill of historical amnesia. You forget your past because we change the letters on you. And this is precisely what happened in Central Asia. It also happened in Malaysia. Of course, it was done by the British in the case of Malaysia, to the point that today, if you go to Malaysia, if you read the newspapers, you read them either in English or you read them in Malay using Roman characters. Whereas if you go to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Syria, or Libya, you still read the newspapers with Arabic script. You see what I'm saying? Now, you go to Pakistan, India, the Urdu newspapers are still using the Arabic script with modification. See, these are the important developments that must be taken into account. This was something the Poles were resisting from these Russians, because you want to change the Cyrillic to replace the Roman letters. So, that affects your mentality, your consciousness. The Poles don't like it. The Hungarians don't like it. So, this becomes very important. These are issues we don't want to talk about when we look at history and civilization, because they're not very good kind of thing. This is something that happens in history.